Okay, everyone. I thought today I would do a fun episode and share what are the benefits of working with a coach. Okay, this is going to be a fun episode, and this is going to be a shorter episode because I have an appointment coming up in 34 minutes. But I thought it would be fun to talk about what are the benefits of working with a coach. So, the benefits of working with a coach. Let's talk about that. And it's so funny because I think life is hilarious in the way that it works out. It was probably 10 years ago. I did not even know that coaches were a thing, or if I knew that coaches were a thing, I associated them with people on TV that would be all about the woo-woo and talking about giving you advice on how to run your life when their life was obviously a hot mess. This is why you should not get all your education from TV. This is why I should not get all my education from TV. So I had a preconceived notion going into it that coaching was somebody telling somebody else what to do, and even if they weren't doing that thing themselves. And I thought, well, I don't need that. And I've got the Bible. The Bible has all the answers. And I had a little bit of arrogance even around the topic. And I remember when I found my first coach, it was when I was in a time in my life where I was working and I was having intense struggles with a relationship at work. And it seemed like no matter what I could do, I could never please my boss. And so I was getting more and more frustrated, and I didn't know what to do with that frustration. So I would take it home, and it was seeping into my relationships with my husband and my children. And it got so bad that it was starting to affect my health. I even got shingles from the stress of it all. Y'all, I was so determined to figure out life on my own because I believed the Bible has the answers, and it does. It really does. It certainly does. But that wasn't the problem. The problem wasn't thinking that. The problem was thinking that I should already know all the answers. And so I should already know all the answers came from having grown up in a Christian home, attended a Baptist church all my life, grown up in a Christian school even, then gone on to Bible college, got my, bachelor's education in biblical studies. Obviously, by this time, I should know everything, right? So, because I felt like I had to be the expert, no other knowledge could come into my life. No other help could come. And so I was just stuck with what I knew. And I did not realize that that's one of the benefits of a coach, is that they help you see things that you thought you knew that just weren't true. So anyway, to finish my story, so in all this time of struggling, I got so anxious at work and all this, I thought, I'm just going to take this frustration and anxiety out, and I'm going to start walking. I'm going to get fit. And the very first time that I went out walking, the very first day, I downloaded a podcast. It was called The Life Coach School by Brooke Castillo. And I'm like, ooh, what is this about? If nothing else, this will be a fun laugh. Very first podcast I ever listened to. Very first download. The very first episode. She changed my life in ways that are still playing out. That's craziness, right? It sounds like hyperbole. It sounds like I am exaggerating. And it sounds like every single time I tell the story gets bigger and bigger. Well, here's why the story gets bigger and bigger, is because the fruit of that moment keeps bearing more and more fruit, not only in my life, but in other people's lives. And that's just pretty exciting. So, a coach introduced me to this concept of questioning your thoughts, questioning your beliefs. Beliefs are just well-practiced thoughts. In Christianity, in spiritual terms, a lot of times we think of beliefs as doctrines. That is not what I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about the things that we personally think habitually in our head. And I had so many thoughts, so many beliefs that just weren't serving me. Here's a simple one. My basic attitude all this time towards my relationship with God was that He was a judge just waiting to chastise or correct me when I was wrong. And it was so funny because how would you react? How would you react if you're always hanging out with, say, an officer of the law, a policeman? You'd be like, oh, got to stay on my best behavior. There's no room for error. I might get a ticket. I hope I don't. You're always tense. You can't relax. You can't even be in true relationship because you're always afraid that you're going to be in trouble. That's not a great relationship. So it's so funny to me that it took a woman who I don't believe she claims to be a Christian. Maybe she does, and I'm not aware of it. But she introduced me to a principle in the Bible, many principles in the Bible that I couldn't see because I already had preconceived thoughts or beliefs about how the world worked and about how I thought. This is a real side tangent, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. I was talking to my mom one time. Here's preconceived notions that'll lead you astray. I told her, I remember the day I realized that verse, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. Beautiful passage. It is the comforting passage that we share. I think it's out of Psalm 23. That we share to people that are troubled. As a kid, I interpreted that verse as the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Want. Like don't ask. Don't ask for anything. And then He makes me to lie down beside still waters. Because I heard that as a kid, I associate it with being forced to take a nap. So He makes me lie down. Like I want to get up and be maybe prancing around. He makes me lie down. Okay, that's what I'm talking about, preconceived notions. Because I'm a little kid and I'm being told, you get what you get, don't throw a fit, be happy with this piece of candy that you got, don't be, all those messages. Or, like I said, nap time, take a nap. Nowadays, somebody tells me to take a nap. I'm like, okay, no argument for me. I'll take one right now. I'll take one in an hour. I'll take two today if you want me to. But that's what I'm talking about. We don't know sometimes, unless we examine it, what we're thinking. We just pick up thoughts. Thoughts are being constantly offered to us from TV, from the radio, from the big blue sky, from billboards, from our loved ones, from our parents, from our teachers. All these thoughts have been offered to us, and a lot of them entered in while we were very, very young. And some of them serve us, and some of them don't. Some of them keep us blind to the truth, the actual truth. So, one of the benefits of a coach is if they're, now, I'm going in two directions here, okay? Bear with me. The second mistake I made, I'm backing up a little bit. The first mistake I made was a coach is just going to tell you what to do. Second mistake I made was thinking that a coach is an accountability person, as in they are just there to say, oh, you have a goal to lose weight. Okay, did you eat like you were supposed to eat? Did you exercise like you were supposed to exercise? Did you do this? I'm here to make sure that you check the boxes in your life that you will not do on your own. That's not to say that that's not actually one of the things that a coach can do and often, maybe sometimes does. I don't actually do that in my life. I'm not great about holding people accountable. I think that you're a big girl, you can hold yourself accountable. So because I thought that coaches were just accountability coaches, or coaches were just people that told you what to do, and I'm a rebel at heart, so then I'm like, well, don't tell me what to do. I'll figure out what I want to do myself. And if you tell me what to do, even if I want to do it, now I'm going to argue with you about it. Talk about thoughts that don't serve. So I thought that a coach was somebody that told you what to do. I thought that a coach was somebody that held you accountable. And I thought, well, that's ridiculous. I should be able to hold myself accountable. Coaching goes so much beyond that. So my very first coach coached me without even knowing who I was, because I listened to a podcast of hers. That's also one of the reasons why I create these podcasts. I kind of hope that I can do the same thing for you, if you'd allow me to. So they offer better thoughts. They offer a new perspective. They offer an alternative way of seeing the world in a way that might serve you. So that's one of the things a coach does, offers you a different perspective. Another thing that a coach does, and I did not realize this until I hired my own coach, is, and this is the way that I was trained, maybe not all coaches do this, but I think that it's so useful that maybe all coaches should do this, and I think it's a beautiful thing. A coach holds space for you to do your own thinking. As in, imagine, do we even understand how beneficial it is to speak our thoughts out loud so that we can hear what we're thinking? And so if we can even say, oh, I don't even agree with that, or, oh, that's actually a good idea, I think I will do that. Many times we're in conversation with our friends, or me with my siblings. Siblings are the worst at this, holding space. We jump in. Like if we're saying that person was a jerk, we're like, yeah, they were a jerk, and da-da-da. Or that person was a jerk, and it's like, no, they weren't a jerk, you just saw it wrong. And so they're either agreeing with us or they're arguing against us, but there's almost no time to think because the other person is jumping in so quickly into the conversation. But a coach can do this thing where she practices what I call holding space. And that is like allowing you to have a conversation with yourself out loud, so you can hear your own thoughts, so you can question them, so you can see where they're going to lead. It's amazing. I remember the first time that my sister did this for me, in fact. There was this moment where I was having this conversation with her, and she's my sister, so she agrees with me or she disagrees with me. We have this great relationship. But there was this moment I remember where she literally said, I'm going to take off my sister hat and put on my therapist hat. And then she started asking me open-ended questions so that I could see which direction I wanted to take, so I could see where I was at and what was my real frustration. Sometimes we think the problem is this, but it's not this. It's that we're seeing it in this light, or we're feeling frustrated because of this. Her holding space for me, it was this new experience. I'm like, that was amazing. I feel so seen. I feel so heard. I feel so cherished. I think everybody should have a coach just for that reason. Just so that you can spend time thinking your thoughts out loud. Okay? All right. That's one of the benefits of being of having a coach. Another one is a coach often will point out possibilities that maybe you are afraid to imagine, like you can't even imagine it, you're afraid to imagine, or you don't even want to admit that you're imagining, because we've got all of these fears. And they're like, it's okay. What if? What if we just talk about it? What could happen? Let's just see what it looks like. So they're not afraid to explore. In fact, they create a safe place for you to explore. Here's a kind of a personal thing. If I try to do this with my husband sometimes, like let's say that I'm just like, what if? I think I might like to take a trip to Italy someday. just trying to dream aloud. I'm not even sure if I want to go to Italy. I mean, it's a foreign country, foreign language, different money. How long of a plane ride is it going to be to get over there? It sounds amazing. I bet they have amazing pizza. But I'm just trying to talk out loud. Okay, my husband, wonderful man that he is, he doesn't hold possibility for me. He starts figuring out how he can make it happen. So then I'm like, whoa, I'm not even sure I want to do this. But he's already like 6 steps ahead of me, like trying to make it happen. Or maybe somebody that's not as encouraging as him is already like coming up with all the reasons why it can't happen. We don't actually have a lot of places that we can dream out loud. A substitute for this, let me just say, is maybe doing some journaling, talking about it and seeing how you feel. But we're just not used to, once we get older than being kids, we're not used to dreaming as adults. And I think it's a shame. And I think that that's one of the benefits of a coach because, and this is why I say I'm so grateful for that one moment, that first moment when I was introduced to coaching, because I have dreams that have come true in my life right now that have only happened because I dared to dream them. And I only dare to dream them because somebody else, my coach, pushed me out of my comfort zone and said, but what if? If you could have anything, if you could wave a magic wand, what is it you'd like? Let's just see. Let's just see what's in there. And all of this is to say, coaching, I used to think, oh, coaching is woo-woo. Hey, and it can be pretty woo-woo. I like that word, woo-woo, so I use it a lot. If you ask me to give a specific definition of it, I would struggle. But you can message me and I can see what I can come up with it. But it's really coming down to coaching is an activity that pops up in the Bible over and over again. Coaching is in the Bible. So, and I did not realize that until I was willing to just explore this. So, coaches show you what's in your heart. There's a verse. It says Proverbs 27:12, and let me look it up. It says, 27:19. As in water, face answers to face, so the heart of man to man. And then this was written by Solomon, who I think was probably one of the world's greatest coaches. It said that people came from all around the world to seek his wisdom. But oftentimes, he wasn't telling them what to do nearly as much as he was revealing to them what it was that they wanted to do. For example, when the Queen of Sheba came and it says, you have shown me all the things in my heart. That's what a coach is doing. A coach is a neutral person in your life. They don't have a vested interest in whether you take this job or not, whether you get married to this particular guy or not, whether you make this decision or not, whether you change your mind. They don't have a particular vested interest in whether you achieve your goal or not. They don't have a particular vested interest in whether you hang on to this belief or you change your belief or you question things. A good one is neutral or neutral/positive, like wanting what's best for you. And that's probably the last thing that I'm going to offer, is that a coach challenges you in the very best way. So I just had the most amazing experience. In fact, I told my husband it was the best money I've ever spent in my entire life, which is saying something, because it was a coaching retreat, like 3 or 4 day thing in Miami. And it was part of a larger 6-month coaching package that I just recently bought to work with a coach that I've been wanting to work with for a while. And she's amazing. She's excellent. She helps coaches be amazing at what they do, which I'm like, oh, that's what I feel like I do. I help Christians be amazing at what they do. Anyway, coaches every once in a while can find that one thing that you've been tripping on for so long that you don't even realize you're tripping on it. You're just living it. And I remember, it's going to sound so odd and out of context, but I'm going to go ahead and share it. This time, she was talking about being courageous enough to put your ideas out into the world. And this year, I'm writing a book. I think I've mentioned that on the podcast. And it's taking a lot to share some of my thoughts because there's this part of me that I don't want to offend, and I don't want to be wrong, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. And I don't want to lead others astray. And I was explaining all this to her. And so it's really hard to write this book because I want to get it right. I want to get it right. I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to misspeak, mislead truth. And she said, what if it's not even possible that you're wrong? Like, what if it's not even possible for you to be wrong? And when she said that, it made me realize this. It helped me to see. I just froze. I'm like, I don't even understand these words that you're saying to me. Of course I'm right or wrong, There is truth. And I do believe that there is truth. But I'm making everything a right or wrong issue. Like, if it rains today, that's right or wrong. It shouldn't have rained, it should have rained. And it actually brings a judgmental spirit in. And of course, there are correct and incorrect answers. Of course, there are ways to do things, better ways to do things, and not as efficient ways to do things. Of course, there are ways to say things and better ways to say things. And maybe not so great ways to say things. But for me to keep on saying right and wrong, it was giving me no room to write a book. No room to try to say it this way. See if that makes sense. See if that resonates. Rewrite it. Edit it. Try a better way. I'm basically expecting myself to be writing the Bible. Like, this is going to be a download. Like, the Holy Spirit is going to lead my hand on this book, and every word is going to be divinely inspired. Okay, when I say it that way, that's rather arrogant on my behalf. It's like, what if I let go of that and I just let it be? This is how I'm thinking about it now. Let me put it on paper and see and come back to it and see if there's a better way, or see if if it needs to be edited or tweaked or changed. Or this is what's so crazy. I was doing the exact same thing with I'm right or I'm wrong. Then I'm just constantly saying I'm right and you're wrong, or I'm wrong and you're right. And I was creating this judgment and battle that did not even need to be there and did not allow room for discussion and growth. And it was very much going back to that old energy of, because I've grown up in a Christian home and gone to Christian school and gone to a Bible college, and that's my degree. Now I have to be the expert. I can't be wrong. I can't say the wrong thing. And the funny thing is, when I can't say the wrong thing, well, then most times I default to not saying anything at all. Or it comes out wrong because I kind of like make myself say something, and then I do say it a little bit harsher than what I really would have desired for it to come across. This is the exact opposite, by the way, of the approach that Jesus encourages us to take in the New Testament when he says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So just be. Just go ahead and do the thing. And in doing the thing, learn to do the thing better. Perfect doesn't make perfect. Practice makes perfect. So just that one little thought, I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be. I am. Of course I'm not right all the way. But it's not even wrong like it's mistaken or it's I don't see the full picture yet. And you see how that's so much more grace-filled even towards me? So she showed me, my coach showed me where I wasn't even allowing grace in my own life to do the work that God has called me to do. And let me tell you this. If God's called you to do something, probably one of the things that you're going to want to offer yourself the most is the grace to do it imperfectly. And in the doing of it, learn how to do it better. Romans 12:2 says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So it's kind of like a continual process. Transformation is this continual process that you may prove, so you can test what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So prove, so that means that you're going to test because some things are going to be like, oh yeah, that worked. Oh, that didn't. It's kind of like if you've ever made bread, one of the steps that is very beneficial is to proof your yeast before you add all the rest of your ingredients. Sometimes yeast goes bad. I had a lot of bad loaves before I learned that tip. So you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect. And it's almost like there's a progression to this will of God. Hey, good job. Good job, April. You did a pretty good job of sharing your love for Jesus with that person. Oh, you got a little bit older, you got a little bit wiser, you got a little bit better at talking. You did a better job. That's acceptable. Oh, look at that. You're just getting better and better. Don't you think that what if we just dropped, and I'm speaking mostly to myself, and I'm also recording this to remind myself of this, so I'm going to go back to it. If we drop the idea that we have to be perfect out of the gate and realize that it's a progress, it's a progression, we get better and better at it. All right, I'm getting a little bit off topic, so I want to bring it back. The benefits of a coach is hopefully she'll do that for you. She will help you realize what it is you're wanting to pursue in life, because sometimes we don't know or we don't want to admit it to ourselves. She will help you question your thoughts, because it's our thoughts that are controlling our life, okay? Or maybe she'll teach you how to question your thoughts on your own. That's what my coach did. And then I became a coach, and now I do it for others. She will hold this space for you to hear your own thoughts and to question the direction of your life without judgment. She will be neutral. She will not have an agenda for your life of like, no, you need to do it this way. It should be this. She will hear things differently than you. As in water, face answers to face, so the heart of man to man. And some things that you're just so, or I myself was so certain of, she'll be able to hear that and get you to question it. Is that really serving you? What are you calling wrong? In my life, I was calling everything wrong. Everything wrong. And I was able to see, that was making me too afraid to take imperfect action. I was literally on the path to become the steward in the Bible where it talks about when the Lord handed out talents 5, 2, and 1. I was about to bury mine because I didn't want to get it wrong. So, what do you think the benefit of working with a coach is? For me, it's like, imagine that there's two people. There's not only you rooting you on and pulling for you in your life, but there's somebody else that's showing you where you yourself are tripping yourself up. So to me, that has been my experience. And that's why I keep on enjoying hiring coaches, because my life is already better than I ever expected it to be. I mean, truly, honestly, this side of heaven, my life is better than I ever expected it to be. In all of its imperfections, it's there. And I'm only 46 going on 47. I can't wait to see if the last 5 to 7 years have been this way. What can I do with the next 50? What could you do with the next 50? Isn't that a fun question? Maybe that's another benefit of a coach. They ask fun questions. They ask thoughtful questions. They ask questions that help you just see this world in all of its possibilities, not as something that needs to be endured until we get to heaven, not as something that be careful because it's all going to run out, but the abundance of God's creation and the possibility and your role in it, and what kind of impact can you have on your family, your kids? What kind of generational change can you create? What is the possibility? What if the only thing that's holding us back from our own fabulous life is just our own limiting mindset, and we just don't even see that? And maybe we need a coach to hold, or somebody that acts like a coach, to hold a mirror up. Okay, that was all the stuff I did not know 7 years ago. This is all the stuff I know now. And so anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you in case you're new to this idea of maybe hiring a coach like I used to be 7 years ago. Anyway, it's just one path forward, but it's a great path. It's because I did not realize, I always thought it was about actions instead of the attitude, the thoughts. I was not working on the area of my life that would give me the most leverage. And now that I have, it's deepened my faith. It has strengthened my relationships. It's given me so many spiritual, material, mental, emotional blessings that I will forever be grateful that for some random reason, or maybe it was the Lord's prompting, I downloaded an episode and I found out what coaching was all about. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up because I am out of time. I've got to head to that appointment with my coach. Anyway, and if you're curious about what a coach can do for you, if you'd like to talk about it, just go to aprilbragg.com, and I've got a little page there that talks a little bit about the kind of coaching that I do in case it might be what you're looking for. But just to introduce something to you in case you're not quite aware of it. All right, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.